y'all! Welcome back to my channel. My name is Evelyn and this is Writer in Progress, the series on my channel where I take a break from talking to you about reading books and talk to you about writing them instead. So it has been a little while since I did one of these writing update videos, but since it is a brand new year of 2021, I decided I should probably update you on my writing goals, because I have some! Back in 2020, my writing goals sort of fluctuated month by month because I was still getting used to school, college, and then I had to deal with a pandemic on top of all of that. My writing life was kind of very chaotic, but at the same time super productive. So, quick little recap. I participated in Camp NaNoWriMo in April of 2020, won that, proceeded to participate in July, won that as well, and then got around to finally finishing the first draft of my YA fantasy novel. Did not get around to giving it a title though. Then I switched gears and started plotting out my YA contemporary, a genre I had never written in before, nor had I planned to. The idea just sort of hit me one day and I was like, oh, gotta write that. And then of course during November I participated in NaNoWriMo with that project and won it for the first time ever. Took a really cool photo shoot with my winter shirt when that showed up, and now we're here. So I wrote so many words, like the most words I've ever written in a year during 2020, on top of all of the chaotic stuff that was happening. And I did that by setting goals for myself, but also by being flexible with those goals. And that's what I'm trying to do a little bit more in 2021. So this year I've got two main goals. I want to revise my YA fantasy manuscript so that I can give it to some beta readers before the end of the year, and I would like to finish draft 1 of the contemporary project. As long as those two things happen this year, I will be satisfied. But I do have some more specific ideas of when and why and how I want things to go down, so let's talk about it. So, like I said, goal number 1 is to revise my fantasy novel with the ultimate goal of sending it out to beta readers. Here we have draft 1 of the fantasy novel. I printed it out when I was going through to take notes because I can't edit the printed version, so it just lets me read it and think about changes without trying to actually fix things as I go. The working title of this project is actually Queer Quest, because the main character is bisexual and it is a quest, but hopefully that will have changed by the time I give it to beta readers. Which brings me to the fact that I am revising. I read all of this during the month of January, took all my notes, put them all in Scrivener, and I am now working on draft 2. I have lots of scenes that all sort of fit together, but there are lots of holes, lots of little holes, beginnings and endings of scenes. A lot of times I just have sections where it's just dialogue and they need to add, like, physical descriptions, what's happening, where they are, that sort of thing. I really just need to flesh everything out so it reads like an actual story, because right now I think if I handed it to anyone but myself, they would read it and then be like, I have no clue what just happened, because everything sort of jumped around a lot. I called it draft 1 because I got down basically every single basic part of the story, but this time we're actually turning it into something one could read. That even involves sort of moving around some of the pieces. I spent so much time. Y'all saw my wall of sticky notes. I spent so much time trying to organize everything, and then I read it and I was like, oh my god, you know what? This is wrong, this needs to be here, this needs to go here, and so like, reading it really honestly, taking that break and then coming back and reading it was so helpful in this process. So now I have put all of the notes that I took into the Scrivener file, and I'm just going to be tackling them one by one, and hopefully by June I will have a somewhat polished, legible, readable draft. And then I want to shift gears into goal 2, which is finish draft 1 of the contemporary project. I would like to be able to use Camp NaNoWriMo in July to get that done, which is why I want to be done with this by June. And I'll give myself July and September. October's gonna go to planning for NaNoWriMo, and then November, of course, is NaNoWriMo. I have some ideas lurking in my head. That's goal 3, though, is start a new project for NaNoWriMo, possibly switching back to fantasy. I might flip-flop fantasy, contemporary. Because I found that I think I'm a lot more effective during NaNoWriMo when I start with a relatively clean slate. Because in the past, I've just been like, oh, I'll use NaNoWriMo to keep working on things. And that has never really been productive for me. But last year, when I just started a brand new project and I didn't have anything holding me back, I didn't have to, like, make sure everything I was writing worked with anything that I'd previously written. I was just like, I'm going to write. I'm just going to write and not worry about it. I, to be fair, have not gone back and read all of that, and hopefully all of that is something that I can use and shape into a draft of a book. But in terms of getting the words out there on the page, I think starting a new project, a brand new project, is something that is going to be beneficial for me in order to use NaNoWriMo effectively. So keep tabs on that, because I may be asking you guys what project you think I should start working on. I have some ideas, but we'll see. So that's goal 3, is NaNoWriMo project. And then I have a few smaller goals. So I want to write and publish a short story at some point this year. There are a couple things I might want to submit short stories to, especially like magazines, because I have yet to get a short story published in a magazine. I have published a nonfiction piece, I have published a drama piece, I have published a poem. I am not a poet, and I have a published poem in a campus magazine. No short stories yet. That needs to change. I need to write more short stories. That is goals 4 and 5. First of all, write a short story. Second of all, get published in a magazine. I would be happy with any of my work being published, but it's sort of like a personal thing. Like, I am a fiction writer and I do not have fiction published in a magazine. That's annoying to me. Speaking of magazines, I do have some school and extracurricular related writing stuff that I'm going to be doing this semester, starting with Zenith. Here we have my little notebook. Zenith is the magazine that my publishing class and I launched this previous semester. If you want to see our magazine right now, it lives online at our website, which is linked in the description of this video. You can go check out our very first issue, Zenith Coming of Age at the End of the World. It was such a fun experience that we decided we were going to keep it going. Even though we don't have class time anymore, we've made it an extracurricular activity. We actually just had our first meeting of the semester last night. I'm so excited to get started. In terms of Zenith, I am a fiction editor, and we shall see what other duties I take on in the future. And I'm a founding member of this magazine, and that is so cool to say. And I am super excited for the ideas that we have for issue 2. So stay tuned for that, because I will definitely be updating you on all things Zenith as well. I love my team. They are so fun to work with, and I'm so excited we're going to be expanding the team this semester, adding on some new members, and just really working to create hopefully something that lasts a very long time. So that's something I'm going to be working on throughout the year. On top of that, I'm going to be going into publishing too, which means I'm going to be working on a team that's creating an anthology. That's all of the details I have about that for now. We shall see what role I end up playing in that, and that'll be really cool, because publishing one was all about magazine publishing, which was like super brand new to me. I did not know very much about magazine publishing at all when I went into that, but I do know a fair amount about book publishing. That is where my heart lies, and so I'm very excited that we're going to be focusing on that this upcoming semester, and I've got some friendly faces in that class that I can't wait to be seeing. So, like I said, I'm going to try to be very flexible with these goals that I've set. You can tell I have a lot on my plate this upcoming semester, and that's very exciting, but also very sort of scary. Especially since the world is always in this state of transition, and I never know what's going to happen, and I'm trying to be okay with that, but as an anxious person, I like to have a plan. So I think this plan is flexible enough that I will be okay in the coming year, but there are a couple of things that I want to be looking forward to this year or within the next few years, specifically contests and querying. So when I say contests, I mean things like Twitter pitch contests and mentorship programs. Specifically the mentorship programs, because I'm a very young human being trying to break into a very competitive market. I know that I'm going to need some sort of like really impressive support system, basically. And so far my support system consists of my peers, which is great. I love my writing friends. They're also amazing and talented, but for the most part, they're about as experienced as I am. Like, we may have experience in publishing within the collegiate sphere, but none of us have come even close to getting, like, a book published by an actual publisher. And so a mentorship program like Pitch Wars or Author Mentor Match would be a really, really amazing thing for me, specifically because having a mentor means having somebody in my corner who knows so much more than I do about the publishing process. Now, yes, it's important to have an agent and an editor and a team that you can trust, but I want to have a personal team outside of the professional team, because the professional team relies on me to make money, and I want to have a personal team who I can use as a sounding board when it comes to the professional team and that sort of thing, right? It just makes sense to me to have sort of a separate well to pull from when it comes to making this like something that I do professionally and consistently. As a young person, and especially as a young woman, and especially as a young woman from a marginalized community, I know that it is often hard to get people to listen to you, and so I want to have as many voices behind me as I can supporting me in my efforts. And so, all that to say, I'm trying to enter into one of those contests and hopefully, fingers crossed, get a mentor within the next 2 years. I say the next 2 years because I'm trying to get an agent before I graduate, y'all. I know it's a stretch. I know that the publishing dream for most people does not happen while they're really young. And the thing is, I know that this is what I want to do with my life. I have known that this is what I want to do with my life since I was like 7 years old, right? It's not that I am not open to having a professional career that is not solely based on publishing. Like, the likelihood that I'm going to be able to support myself just by writing books is so slim. But I want my publishing career to be solid as well as my professional career. And in order to do that, I think building a solid foundation before I have to really worry about entering into the professional sphere as like a librarian or whatever I end up doing is the smartest move for me if I can make it happen, right? And I know people who've made it happen, like personally, through Twitter at least. I want to be ready to query one of my manuscripts by spring of 2022. And hopefully the querying process will not take that long. Being able to get a mentor through Pitch Wars or Author Mentor Match I think would definitely help speed up that process. If it doesn't happen for me within the time frame, it's not like I'm going to let it keep me from querying, but hopefully I get good feedback from my beta readers, because that's the main thing. I want to be confident in the story and the writing, and so I'm trying to be really thoughtful about this revision. And that's not to say that I think I or any one of my peers would be failing or in a bad spot if we weren't like publishing right out of college. It's just, for me, this is the only thing that I know 100% for certain I want to do. Right now, I am not paying for my college. I was so lucky enough to be able to go to Iowa on scholarships, and so I don't have to be making money, like, to survive. Once I graduate, though, your girl needs to eat and live somewhere, right? So once I graduate, I no longer have that blessing of time. And so I'm trying to use this time to the best of my ability to get my foot into the doors of publishing. And for me, that means, at the very least, getting an agent before I graduate. I do not think that there is like an age limit or a cap or any sort of thing that like people should keep fighting for those goals, and I'm gonna keep fighting to get my foot in the door, even if I have to do it while balancing like a job and the rest of my life. It's just, I don't want to like have to do that if I don't have to. And I want to work really hard, and I love these stories I'm working on. I want them to be out in the world. I want people to read these characters who are little pieces of me with... Anyway, I'm just... I'm impatient. I'm impatient, but also from like a career standpoint, it makes the most sense for me to try and get in there as soon as possible. Because who knows, maybe I will become like a best-selling sensation, and then I won't have to go to grad school. Alright, so there you have it, my 2021 writing goals. Basically just do the thing, write the thing, have fun while you're doing it. So I'm always looking for new writing friends and to expand my writing community, so if you are like me and you are trying to get your foot in the publishing door, comment down below. We should be friends. If you like this video, remember to click that subscribe button because I am really going to try to be more consistent with these writing update videos. I usually post book recommendation, book-themed videos anyway, so if you're into that, you should stick around. And with that being said, my name is Evelyn. I make new videos every Magical Monday, and I'll see you real soon. Bye-bye. Hold on. Okay. Now.